All right, why don't we go ahead and get started? My name is Dustin Thompson. I am the Volunteer Community Outreach Coordinator for the Delaware Sierra Club. And with me today is the one, the only,
Good.
Tony DePrima. Thank you for joining us, sir. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and maybe something about Energize Delaware for folks who are unfamiliar?
Sure. I am the executive director of Energize Delaware. I have been in this position since late 2011 when the organization rebooted. Prior to that, I'm actually always consider myself an urban planner by profession. I was a planning director in Dover and city manager. Recently got a PhD in public policy and urban policy and public administration from University of Delaware. And I'm just a strong advocate for sustainability. This is really a second career for me, and I'm working in an area I absolutely love.
Yeah, making a difference on the climate always feels good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So Energize Delaware has a lot of programs, which we're going to talk about several today, that people can take advantage of, no matter what their background is or what they're looking for in the energy world. One of the, there we go. But one of the newer ones is the Delaware PACE program. So could you give us a little bit of background about what that program is used for?
sure. So again, you're right. I just got to say we have many programs. I think we're up to about 16 programs that we've rolled out since 2012. And, we try to have programs for just about every Delawarean, homeowners, nonprofits, houses of worship, state, local governments. We have a farm program. And, and so I know later on we'll talk a little bit about some of the residential programs. But CPACE, which stands for Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy, is the newest of our programs to help finance energy efficiency and renewable energy programs in commercial buildings. And I do want to publicly thank the Sierra Club because they were one of many organizations that helped lobby for the legislation necessary to create the commercial PACE program. So again, it's a complicated program. PACE stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy. And I'll just say that through the magic of legislation, both county and state legislation, what this program does is it takes a commercial loan for a building improvements and transforms it into a property assessment. And I think that's the key to it. And I think the question that everybody needs to know is, or the answer to the question is, well, why is that important? What's the advantage of financing energy efficiency and renewable energy through property assessments? And how could you even do that? And the fundamental basis of this law is that energy efficiency, renewable energy, reducing carbon is important to our nation and to the state and to society in general. So it has a public purpose. And since it's a public purpose, it can take on the form of a public assessment. So as a public assessment, it's more like a tax bill than a loan payment. And by taking on that form, things that it can do that a standard commercial loan can't do is it can go for 20, 25 years. It can finance 100% of the project costs. It improves cash flow because in all of these projects, the energy savings have got to be more than the cost of paying back the loan. It increases property values, and it can go from owner to owner. So unlike a loan that has to get paid off when you sell a property, this loan could be transferred to the next owner. So it's got a lot of nuances that commercial property owners who want to make energy efficiency improvements or renewable energy advantage for them. And again, right now it was created in legislation in 2018. Again, the Sierra Club was a part of the lobbying group that did that, along with trades folks, unions, energy companies were all got behind this legislation. So I want to thank everybody that was involved. And, you know, it was relatively new. So we run this program through the counties, and Newcastle County stepped forward, particularly through the efforts of Matt Meyer and Councilman Woods, really got this through the county level to the point where last year, early this year and last 2019, we actually did some funding and financing of a commercial PACE improvement. I think you're muted there, Dustin.
Yep, there we go. I'm still figuring out technology in this life. So, so you were when you first jumped on, you shared with me some news about your first big PACE project here in Delaware. So,
Right.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, and what are some of the examples that you've seen, maybe in other programs that people have financed. What kind of projects?
Sure. So our first project we did, which was earlier this year, I'll send up a little photo, but it was the, this may look familiar to folks from Wilmington, but this is the Dupont Building, right on Market Square in Wilmington. This was financed. So all of this financing isn't public financing. It's financed through, you know, specially financed. So this is private sector investment. But the Dupont Building was in dire need of new heating and air conditioning equipment. That building was built in 1908. It had some huge, big, old, inefficient systems that had to get replaced. And in this instance, I think over $5 million in total was borrowed to improve the boilers, the chillers, and all the associated, you know, the cooling towers, everything that goes with that were upgraded to energy efficiency. And so it was just a wonderful project, and we were happy to have that as our #1 project to come through.
So what are some of the projects how does the breakdown usually go in terms of like energy efficiency, solar, and that sort of stuff, and some of the other states that have had this for a little bit?
Right. So nationally, and I should say, I believe there's like 23 states or so that have active PACE programs. Now, this program was something new. I mean, it really just started around 2009, and it grew from less than $1 million in loan. It's almost a $2 billion program now nationally. But nationally, about half of all the projects are funding energy efficiency. I think about 30% is purely doing renewable energy, mostly solar, and then the remaining are combinations of renewable and energy efficiency combined in a project. What's interesting is nationally now, some states, Florida, you can imagine, California, are starting to change the PACE laws so that you can actually fund resiliency too. And that's a big subject here for Delaware. Under our law right now, we can't fund resiliency projects, but perhaps we can work on it in the future.
Yeah, and I will say, I forgot to say in the beginning, if anybody has any questions on Facebook, use the comment section and we'll get those over in the Zoom. And if you're on Zoom, you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or chat with each other as we're going through here. So what are kind of the costs involved to get a project going? And I guess what's the first step? If an entity out there that's watching this or business is wanting to make an improvement, how do they get started?
Well, I think a commercial property owner wants to get started could start by just contacting us. We have in the program, so my organization's the administrator. That's our role. We don't put any cash into these deals. We're the coordinator, the administrator. We're making sure everything works in accordance with the law. But we have contractors who are certified to work here in Delaware, and we have financiers, and we also have a consulting firm that will talk to a business, run the business's idea through some energy modeling to see if we think it would work. But we would try to hook up interested business owner with a contractor who works in the field and with a finance company, and they would work as a team to start a project. But it always starts with the business owner who's very concerned that their energy bills are just too high, or they have a real interest in solar. And you know, again, we actually have a separate website for our commercial PACE program. It's called simply DelawareCPACE.org. And there's all kinds of resources there and information, and you could get in touch with us from there.
So simply Delaware
CPACE.org.
CPACE.org. All right. Whenever we upload these to our website, we always have resources. If anybody's watching, you miss an episode, you can always check out our website, sierraclub.org/Delaware. Go to the live stream page, which is under our outings and events. And you can see all of our old episodes and check out the resources there. So you'll see this one up next week with the resources that we're talking about here. So what are some of the residential programs that people can take advantage of who want to reduce their energy costs at home?
Yeah, so our signature program that we've been running now for, you know, probably the longest is our Home Performance with Energy Star program. This is open to any Delaware homeowner. We can do any kind of single family houses. We do limited apartment buildings, 4 units or less. But this is a simple program that involves having an energy assessor come to your house to do an assessment of your home. Most everything we do starts with an assessment, right? We're going to study the building. From the assessment, they will generate a report with recommended, what we call measures, that you might want to consider implementing. Those measures are typically new air conditioning or high efficiency heating systems, could be insulation and weather stripping, and, you know, so that whole array. Could be water heating, right? And then if you actually implement those measures, we provide some rebates to make it cost effective for the homeowner. And so I should tell you right now that one of the things we've been doing during the COVID economy is we've cut the cost of the energy audit. So right now it's only $50, and you're really getting about an energy audit that's worth about $400. It's a half-day process. You know, you have to be there for the energy auditor, but they're going to do a blower door test. They're going to look at all your energy bills. They're going to look in your attic. They'll look at all the equipment in your house to see how it's rated. And they're going to make a set of recommendations. And for that program, we also have a low interest loan program to help with some of the costs. So we have done hundreds of homes, actually thousands of homes now in Delaware. And it's a program that anybody who has an older home, maybe 10 years or older, should really think about it. And the cool thing is, Dustin, when we come to the house, we're going to give you stuff too. So for that $50, you're probably going to get $200 worth of stuff, right? Mostly LED light bulbs, pipe wrap, water efficiency shower heads and faucets, you know, things like that we'll actually give to you and we will install while we're there. So it's a wonderful program. The other popular program that we rolled out, and again, it's to show that we're committed both to energy efficiency and renewable energy, is a couple of years ago, we started offering residential solar loans. So again, we're lending folks money to put solar on their house. It's low interest, so it's a 3.9% loan. And the nice thing about it is it doesn't require any liens or second mortgages, right? It's what we call an unsecured loan. It's like a credit card loan. But I can guarantee you your credit card's not going to charge you 3.9% interest. So we rolled this out because we want to encourage people to own their own solar systems on the house. And this is a way of raising some of the capital. And there are some grants out there that, you know, you match it with the grant and they become an affordable project. So that is also out there for all residents in Delaware. We will lend up to $30,000. We're also lending for geothermal systems in a very similar program and other energy efficiency programs. So we do lending, and then we also try to give a lot of rebates. And I
Yeah.
should say that all of our funding comes from the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, which is basically a carbon pricing program. It's regional in the Northeast. It's also known as a cap and trade program. But bottom line is we get dollars from power plants in the Northeast based on how much carbon they are emitting into the air and their standards, and they have to pay into a pool of money. That money is then distributed amongst the states. And then we've got to use that money to reduce carbon and reduce folks' energy bills. So that's how we're able to afford this and all the other programs that we are doing.
Yeah. So you will have 1001 energy audits by the end of next week. So I signed up for that.
Well, fantastic.
Program. So yeah, it'll be really interesting. I live in a 1955 build, and
Okay.
my windows I feel like are pretty new, but I feel like the ceiling. I'm imagining that ceiling may be an issue, and I'd be interested to see what other things that they can find to make my home a little bit more energy efficient.
Great.
I'm pretty let's just say I'm pretty attentive to my energy bills. Anytime there's a fluctuation of more than $10, I'm like, hey, what's going on? So,
yeah, that's great. So I'd love to know how that turns out. And hey, maybe you can do another follow-up show and you can share everybody the results of your energy audit and show them what it looks like and what you're doing about it.
Before and after, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did get an electric car recently.
All right.
We did see a little bit of an increase charging that at home at night, but not too bad. And being able to just kind of drive by all the gas stations has been super nice.
Yeah, we here at the SCU or Energize Delaware, we have a Chevy Bolt with a B, and yeah, we love it. But anyway, so I did want folks to know that we're rolling out a couple of new programs I think will interest them. So we're hoping within the next few weeks, we're going to have virtual energy assessments. So again, if some people are still uncomfortable with the inspectors or the assessors coming to the house, and I should say that the ones that are coming out, the folks that'll come to your house, Dustin, they're going to be meeting all of the COVID protocols, right? So they're going to be masked up. They'll make sure everything they touch is clean. So, rest assured that we are really stringently following all the guidelines. But for some folks that don't want to go through having an audit, we're actually going to have a software program online that you'll be able to access. And it's going to take the user, the homeowner, through a series of questions. And there'll be a question about your electric bill. It's going to ask you how old your dishwasher is, how old your furnace is, what style house you have. It'll ask you a whole bunch of questions. And at the end of this process, it's going to give you energy saving tips, and it will direct you to programs that can help you. So we're calling that the Energize Delaware Virtual Assessment Program. And we hope to have that up and running within the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. And then the very beginning of next year, we have decided to fund an online marketplace where Delawareans can go online and order things like LED light bulbs and other energy efficiency measures. And what you pay for it, there will be a subsidy. So we're going to take some of our Reggie dollars and we're going to pay for some of the equipment so that you're getting it at a very low cost. So all of this that I'm mentioning so where do you go, right? Where are you going to go for this? You go to energizedelaware.org. Energizedelaware.org is our website. You can sign up for an energy audit through that site. You can get to all of the information I gave out, and you will be able to get to your virtual energy audits and to your virtual online energy efficiency store. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, that is pretty exciting. They can be quite costly, so that's great that people who can only afford to buy, pack of LEDs at a time can even get a little bit more help. So somebody from our chat here had a question. Once the audit's been completed, do you provide recommendations on contractors and who can do the upgrades, or how does that work?
Yeah, so once you get the audit and the measures, we don't recommend the contractors, but you do have to pick from contractors who are participating in our program. So we do some quality control assurances, and we get some certifications from those guys. And so not anybody can do the work. It has to be one of our contractors. We probably have a list now of maybe 50 contractors, I'm guessing. But you can actually go to the website, the Home Performance website, look up participating contractors. And what's really cool is we've rolled out sort of a grading system, if you will, so that when you're done, when everybody's done with it, like when you're done, Dustin, we're going to ask you how your experience was, and you're going to be able to rate your contractor. And we take all those ratings. So as you're looking at different contractors, you can actually see if they're a 3-star or 4-star or 5-star contractor. You can see where they operate, and you can see what they do. But you can select from that list. And usually the energy audit company could also help you through that. And it's the same thing with picking energy auditors. You can go to the list of participating contractors and select somebody who you're comfortable with. And we always encourage folks to, hey, talk to more than one person, right? What did you do, Dustin, for selecting your contractor?
So I just said, sign me up for whoever.
Right.
I didn't know any contractors on the list, so I just kind of said, whoever has the first availability during the time, because they asked you kind of what times you're available during the day, or during the week.
Okay.
So I just kind of said, whoever is available during my times.
Right. So they have a system in place where they, I think they they give everybody a shot at the rotation, but I do think you have to meet a certain amount of quality stars to get on that rotation list. I may be wrong, but I think that's the way we do it.
Yeah. So, Sherry, is another question you might be able to answer. Is there any specific recommendations for people to prepare for winter? Or is there any resources maybe on the website?
I saw
the weatherization program was highlighted on the website there.
Yeah, so we don't have energy tips per se for our program. One of the nice things about this virtual energy assessment, it will be, we will be rolling out tips. I think in our website under resources, we might have some tips. But here's a tip. Every Thursday at 2:00, we run our own Facebook Live event hosted by Angie Bivens. And her whole program is all about energy saving tips and things you can do to save energy. But again, make sure your filters in your HVAC system are clean. That's really important. You're going into winter, check your thermostats. Make sure that they're set at reasonable temperatures. This is a good time to, something I forget to do, right? I forget to go around and check all my windows. And all of a sudden, it's the middle of January, and I noticed that I don't have my storm window down, right? I forgot to put the storm windows down, so I got a screen up instead of the storm window. It's those little things that become really important.
Yeah, I saw, was there rebates or something like that on thermostats on the website? I saw that being mentioned on the
Yeah,
website.
so through the home performance program, you can ask for and have, I believe, installed smart thermostats, and they are already subsidized. So that's something you can get through the home performance program. Then that will also be something we will offer through the online marketplace.
Yeah, and that made I got one. It made a huge difference on, because, one of the nice things it does is senses when you're away from the house.
Right.
So you're not heating an empty house.
Yeah.
And which took a little bit of adjustment when we got a roommate, because she didn't have the app on her phone, and so when we went away on vacation, she got a little chilled out before we figured out.
Oh my goodness!
But for everybody else, it worked out great. So wonderful. Is there? I think you told me actually another really exciting program that you're offering specifically for low-income residents that want to really tackle their energy use. So maybe you could give us a little hint about the net zero project you got.
Yeah. So this is And let me just say that our board of directors, so I work for a board of directors led by, Senator Harris McDowell, who's been an energy champion in this state for the last 40 years or so. But a number of years ago, our board made the decision that said, hey, you need to focus your funding on low-income people because they have the greatest energy burden, right? But people of lower incomes are paying a greater percent of their income for energy. And so we have focused a number of programs on that. One of the things we try to tackle was, we know in lots of rural areas, the most inefficient and types of housing out there are mobile homes. So we came up with this program called the Net Zero Energy Modular Home. And the idea is, and we subsidize the solar on it, and we provide some what's called I want to say it's not a second mortgage, but it's a forgivable mortgage on the home to make it affordable. And what it does is, we have two styles. One is it fits right on the footprint of an old mobile home. And then we have some that look more like traditional houses, small houses. These homes are net zero energy. So when the solar's on it, the amount of solar energy generated by the solar versus the bill means you should have virtually no energy bill at all over the course of a year. We've actually deployed two of these now. I think we're going to work on our third one. And so it's been a slow going. Our partner in this program is Baraka Homes. So these units are built by Baraka Homes down in Greenwood. Our other partner is Milford Housing. So they are managing all of the paperwork and the marketing and all of that. But, we envision someday we're actually talking about having a subdivision full of these net zero modular homes. So it's kind of exciting. And again, we have a website dedicated strictly to that program. I want to say it's called zmoddelaware.org, I believe. Zmod.
Delaware.org.
Yeah, and you can also get to it through our website.
All right. Just making sure I have that down for the resource tab there. All right. So I really appreciate you taking the time today. We are at the top of the half hour. We try to aim to shoot for. So I really appreciate you taking the time to educate us a little bit about what's going on. I will certainly update the world after my energy audit here, and we will do a before and after shot of my energy bill, and after I get everything in, to be fair.
Yeah.
Having someone come in and this, that, and the other thing is wrong, probably not going to help my bill, but once I get it fixed.
Let us know how that goes. And again, I want to thank you for having us. And I do want to thank the Sierra Club for their support on getting the CPACE program through. Our next goal is to get Sussex and Kent County signed up.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Sierra Club's going to be working on a number of different initiatives this legislative session. So hopefully, we can all get through this election, hopefully, and then we can all get to work and pushing forward, more renewable energy, better energy efficiency programs, and more, regulations on, new buildings, and making sure we're doing things right from the get-go. So we don't have to do all this retrofitting that we'll certainly have to do with all the builds like mine, built in 1955 here. So I really appreciate you joining us. Thank you, everybody that's watching on Facebook and on Zoom here. Really appreciate you taking the time.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.